Welcome back, Colossus Faithful. This is Zealous here, coming at you for part 2 of my movement and melee discussion for the Colossus Javelin. If you were here the last time I went over all this, I talked a little bit about moving around, animation cutting specific to Colossus, also about melee combos and all that good stuff. I want to expound upon that a little bit today, building on some of the stuff I went over in episode 1 with some new stuff that I've gone over getting into higher Grandmaster difficulty. We've got two key numbers here I want to focus on today. One is 16995, the other is 11,074. What the heck is that? That is none other than a two-part melee strike from our prepackaged Fist Slam with the Colossus. Specifically in this case with the Fist Slam itself dealing the 16995 portion of the damage, and the second part, the slightly smaller portion, that's the 11,074, is actually coming from the explosion. Turns out we get an extra hit from a certain Masterwork component, that is the Grand Entrance. Now if you just read Grand Entrance, it looks like that only applies to just coming down out of the sky, a hard landing. It's the text for it. You get an explosion upon hard landing, but it's very vague. You don't get a whole lot more on that explosion. What's the damage percentage? What it upgrades? I want to check this out and look at it directly and see what it does. So as you can see here, just digging into this, if you haven't made sense of it already just from watching, the coolest part about this little combo is that the standard Colossus melee strike, the Fist Slam, actually triggers the explosion from that Masterwork component, from the Grand Entrance. So you don't have to worry about coming down from like 800 feet in the air to get the explosion damage. You can get it all compacted right there in your melee hit. This explosion is roughly a 180-degree-ish, very small radius fire cone around your javelin. If you strike to the side with this, or for like example, if you're just hitting just splash damage, you're jumping in the middle of the pack, anything but it seems being directly keeping your enemy directly in front of you or being like right up on them when you do this, you're gonna miss the explosion. So one of the keys I'm looking at here as I start to think about refining the melee game as we get progress into harder stuff is what are going to be some of the best ways to put this together without losing damage. And now I honestly don't see why. Personally, I'm going to remove this component from my javelins with having that much extra additional damage. It's almost like having two melee hits in one. Now, just to set the table with this, I got to put a little groundwork on the floor. This is with a 648 power Masterwork Colossus. Again, this is on Grandmaster 2. Difficulty-wise, the good thing about Anthem, as far as when you're testing damage and stuff, is not having to worry about a complicated defense formula or something else to run through. I mean, basically, when enemies scale up, they can turn into bullet sponges and damage sponges. Their HP skyrockets and everything. You might struggle a bit more taking some more damage, but the baseline damage you should be seeing from your melee, your basic hits. That is going to be the same, and hopefully by that point, if you're going to GM3 and beyond, you scaled pretty high and your power is high enough to be able to cause some pretty catastrophic combo hits. So if there's any Colossus player still on the fence a little bit about Grand Entrance, maybe it didn't sound as cool as first, depending on the hard landing thing, hopefully there's something here that you can glean if you're really into the melee game that can help you out if you have room to fit it into your component setup already, keeping a lot of those things in mind that of course we've already discussed, the hop melee, keeping your enemy stunned, shields. There's a lot you can do with this, but again, as always, it's situational, and reading the situation, reading the moment is going to be key to using it. If some of you guys have already been digging into this stuff, hey, by all means, hey, post down in the comment section below. I want to know what you're coming up with, or you found some other really sweet melee madness with this component, or some other good stuff besides the 300% damage shield charge. Next up, I want to take another spin by the block for Colossus Flight and animation cutting. Now, you remember I was oh so sad that Colossus can't quite do the same thing the rest of the javelins can with cutting to a melee move, thruster boost, flight, melee. If anything, we've got some options to drop altitude really quick without having to turn to boosters, by doing a melee strike and stuff like that, but nowhere near the type of movement mobility the other javelins get. So after looking at this really carefully, though, there is something I wanted to go back and add to about that. Now, we may not be able to have the same type of mobility cuts, but we still actually can get a similar duration by instead holding your button to draw your shield. Turns out that actually sort of resets our animation count and allows us to go back into flight mode. So theoretically, there's your flight chain. You will, as you can see here, you're going to be able to actually connect your flight burst instead of having to stop or just do another point. I still don't think this helps quite as much as other javelins. I mean, in a full flight test that I did just at the beginning of an area, running from a strider over to a certain point, both with maneuvering like this and without maneuvering like this, there's very little, very little that I saw that this actually added. But again, it's just one of those finer points. Maybe you can adjust this and use it to kind of tweak to your own flight style. Maybe you want to land on a specific ledge or do something sweet like that. Just for the sake of a quick breakdown to clarify how this works, what you'll want to do is go into flight mode, then go into your fist slam, just a melee. That also drops your altitude really fast. As you're dropping altitude, now bear in mind, just a tap of your shield, that's not sensitive enough to draw it. As you're falling through the air, you'll want to hold your shield draw. So you'll see that actually come up, you'll draw your shield. That right there can enable you to go right back into flight mode. And really, you can put that together just indefinitely. So hopefully your momentum can carry you into a waterfall or two and really extend your flight time if you're really aware and if you're really checking out your surroundings. That is going to be it for me though, so once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, still could use your help. A like, a sub goes a super long way to helping a very small channel get off the ground, but again, thank you all. Love to hear from you. You take it easy. I'll catch you again soon.